Yo, 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 yo. What's up, fight fans? It's your man, 3K the Boss, a.k.a. Mr. Two Hands Up. Fah Fah. You already know what it is. Pat, 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 pop, pop, and all that good stuff. So shout out to the whole boxing world. More importantly, shout out to my whole Reaper gang. And if anybody's new pop in the building, man, salute to y'all, man. Hope everybody good, man. As I always tell y'all, man, go out and shine like stars, man. Because you are one. Okay, man. So listen, man, I got a little bit of time this morning before I get into all of this crazy ass. It's my grandma's, you know what I'm saying, 90th birthday weekend crap, blah, 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 blah. So I just wanted to touch base with the people. So, you know, and there's something, you know, it's a conversation that I wanted to further extend today. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I put out a tweet yesterday on Twitter. It was like yesterday. It ain't even been out 24 hours. And I basically, shout out to my brother, Steve Kim. He basically had forwarded or retweeted Canelo, and he was basically saying, you know, these guys have nothing to offer me. More specifically, speaking of David Benavidez, Demetrius Andrade, and Jamal Charlo, he was like, they have nothing to offer me. You know what I'm saying? He was like, they need to make a legacy and start fighting one another. You know, fight one another, and then you know you can get to the pot of gold at the end of the tunnel. And my whole thing is, he makes a fucking very valid point. So when I watched the whole recording and all of that shit, I retweeted. I was like, bro, this is all facts. I was like, if they really wanted this fight, Benavidez, Charlo, Andrade, they would all get cracking. It's like they want to show up to this fucking man's barbecue party, and these dudes don't even have the audacity to show up with fucking plastic forks or even paper plates. And these motherfuckers just want to eat for free. Real shit, though. It's like, you know, there's that one guy who always shows up to the barbecue, and that motherfucker don't even got the nerve to bring a fucking red Solo cup. Matter of fact, these motherfuckers want to show up to the Canelo fucking barbecue party with a red Solo cup, and the only thing written on the front of that motherfucker is entitlement. This isn't how the shit works. Another individual tweeted, commented under what I posted. Now the tweet is catching mad tracks, and I believe it's almost up to like 1,000 likes in under 24 hours. Now, another guy tweeted underneath of it. It was like, look, it's not hard to figure out. It's no different than Mortal Kombat. And what I'm saying by that is, like, yo, on Mortal Kombat, like, go back to Sega days. You know, there's a tree of everybody that you have to fight, whether you're fighting on beginner, intermediate, or the most difficult setting. And on that tree, it shows you all of the opponents that you have to climb through. The first opponent is always the weakest, up to the most difficult. Now, the most difficult opponents, if we think in Sega Genesis days, will be Shang Tsung. And it's like, okay, if boxing were Mortal Kombat, fucking Canelo would be the Shang Tsung on the fucking difficulty tree. Now, why is it that David Benavidez, Demetrius Andrade, and Jamal Charlo, these motherfuckers don't even want to entertain each other, and they just want to skip the whole test your fucking mic tree and automatically think you're going to get fucking Canelo? How does that work? Not even in Mortal Kombat can you put in a fucking cheat code and get to fight Shang Tsung. It doesn't work like that. You've got to go through a certain level of opponents if you want to get to the big boss, the main champion. And quite frankly speaking, these motherfuckers ain't even fought Sub-Zero or Scorpion yet. And they automatically trying to get to Shang Tsung. That's not how the game should work. And if anything, the one thing about Canelo's career that's no different than Floyd's and no different than Pacquiao's, every single one of these guys had to go through and create a robust resume for themselves and putting in hard work to get to this point, to earn these type of paydays, to get this type of unwavering, you know, loyalty from fan bases. You're not supposed to have unwavering loyalty when I could take all three of these. Now let's go ahead and go there. And this is something that motherfucking all of these fanboys don't want to hear, and all of these fucktards and all of these fucking casuals don't want to hear because they're too worried about being tribal or respecting promotional outfit for personal deluded reasons. Here's the deal. Jamal Charlo, Demetrius Andrade, and David Benavidez, I could take all three of these motherfuckers' resumes, all three of their entire resumes, and that shit don't even equal up to Canelo's 2019 to 2021. Tell me I'm lying. What? What about all three of their resumes is better than Canelo's fucking resume from 2019 to 2021? Okay, let's look at it on the Canelo side. You've got Callum Smith from 2019. We've got WBO world champion Sergey Kovalev takes his belt. He fought Callum Smith, I believe, I think that was his first fight in 2022. He fought Avani Yildirim, he fought Billy Joe Saunders, he fought Caleb Plant. So, okay, we've got Sergey Kovalev from 2019, Sergey Kovalev, Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders, Avani Yildirim, and Caleb Plant. Now, let's take all three of fucking Charlo's, Andre's, and goddamn Benavidez fucking resumes, and let's take their most significant opponents. Liam fucking Smith, Anthony Durrell, and Sergey Derevyanchenko. I repeat, Liam Smith, Anthony Durrell, and Sergey Derevyanchenko. That shit don't equal up to 2 years, or better yet, even 1 year of this man's activity. So what the fuck are y'all complaining about? How is Dimitri Bivol in the Triple G route a fucking cherry pick when goddamn looking at all three of their resumes collectively, that shit is rigor mortis as fuck. That shit ain't even getting off the ground. So I ask people time and time again, what the fuck are you even arguing for? You don't even have a reason to argue. You don't even have a reason to complain. Now, I've always said this, and I don't do a lot of I don't do no flip-flopping. I just keep it a buck. Like, dog, when a nigga's doing exceptional shit, how the fuck you got the nerve to hate on it when the shit you doing is fucking as basic as a motherfucking it's tea with no fucking sugar, bro. Like, y'all motherfuckers ain't doing nothing and just think y'all just supposed to go from pit to palace. If y'all wanted somebody to even say anything about you and for it to make sense for you even to get on the Canelo sweepstakes, motherfuckers should be putting in some type of work. But I could show Demetrius Andre from 154 pounds to 160. He ain't unified one title. Now, I'm not here to point fingers at whose fault it is or who's at fault here when it comes to this person not fighting this individual or that individual, but goddamn, there's nobody on your schedule voluntarily that even, moves the needle remotely. I mean, David Benavidez, there's nobody on his fucking resume that moves the needle remotely. I mean, shit, Jamal Charlo, don't even get me started on him. So how could you even try to defend those guys and just act like Canelo should be fighting these guys because he was there? Blame Golden Boy for the Demetrius Andre not happening at 160 pounds. Because they didn't file the exemption to prolong Canelo more time to work out, the Sergey Derevyanchenko fight, so he wouldn't leave 160 pounds. All I'm saying is it gets to a point to where, okay, even when I brought up, certain, respectfully so, some of Canelo's shortcomings, I brought it up all based on the fact. But if you talk about all of the Charlos, all of Benavidez, all of Demetrius Andre's shortcomings, them motherfuckers just come off of the fact that these motherfuckers just haven't done shit. And the whole world wants to make excuses for what they haven't done. That shit is lackluster as fuck, bro. Give me a fucking break, man. That shit is bubble guts. And people got the nerve to act like this man is motherfucking cherry picking and all of this other shit. Bro, cherry picking? If what Canelo's doing is cherry picking, then what the fuck do we call what Demetrius Andre, David Benavidez, and Jamal Charlo is doing? Because these motherfuckers aren't doing anything. Anything. Like, before you just jump out there and try to argue for a motherfucker, it's like, bro, have at least somewhat of a leg to stand on. At this point in motherfucking Canelo's career, you don't have a fucking leg to stand on, bro. He didn't fight a Lunga Mukabu. He did something way tougher than that. So I don't even understand what motherfuckers even bitching about right now. Half of these motherfuckers won't even tune in and watch a European fighter fight. because they think fucking just America is the best thing since sliced bread. A lot of people, you know what I'm saying, domesticate their viewership. And what I mean by domesticating their viewership is they won't watch that shit unless it's on American soil or some shit like that. James Jameson, salute. Don't ask me, salute. Chin Smoke, what's goody? Remy, what's goody? It's just Miguel, what's goody? This shit is just baffling to me, bro. Even without fighting Andre, but fighting Andre would help to actually define the one. Hold on. Even without fighting Andre, but fighting Andre would help to actually define the one. It's almost like this, bro. Like, I feel as though I feel like honestly, I feel like I wish and even if Canelo would have beat fucking Jermall Charlo's tuned up ass, people would have something to say about it. And then once after he beat Jermall Charlo up, what they would chalk that shit up to is Jermall Charlo is too green. He doesn't have any experience on his resume. He hasn't accomplished anything. So of course that would have been an easy win for somebody on Canelo's status who has, you know, how do I put it? So much championship experience. You see where I'm going with this? So I'm starting to really, you know, I'm starting to really sympathize with those who clearly say no matter who Canelo fights and whatever Canelo does, it's not good enough. Do you just want to see the motherfucker lose? Do you just want to hate on a motherfucker's success, or are you just mad because he ain't black? I'm trying to figure it out. Like, I've told people time and time again, this channel is always going to call it straight down the motherfucking middle. And just like I defend anybody else, I'd be more than willing to defend the Canelo on that aspect as well. That's how I created the steroid question 1, for these exact reasons. Because people always act like, you know, like they the fucking victim when it comes to this bullshit. When really the fuck, you want to know who's the biggest victim is? Canelo. The victim to having to hear about these individuals with their lackluster fucking resumes and their fucking inability to want to get off their asses and fucking fight one another. Like, bro, you can't make excuses. Okay, so from 154 to 168 pounds, if Demetrius Andrade has a unified one title all the way to 168, even though he's exercising his option, he's going to be fighting fucking Zach Parker or whatever. Like, what is he? He hasn't unified one title. Jermall Charlo, 2-division world champion, has never unified one title. David Benavidez, he hasn't gotten the fucking fight because he chose cocaine over legacy. He chose Sonic over legacy. He chose Whataburger over legacy. He chose Booger Sugar over legacy. So whose fault is this, and why does all of the frustration go to the Canelo side of the street? Because what, it's the easiest thing for you motherfuckers to do? Give me a fucking break. Like I said, go round up some motherfucking plastic utensils, go round up some goddamn fucking paper plates, and goddamn put down the red Solo cups with entitlement written on them motherfuckers. And actually bring something fruitful to the table for somebody to actually be able to defend your fucking ass and say, hey, you know, he's made a case that one of these individuals are definitely deserving of this fight. I can't defend any of these guys if they haven't put themselves in a position to where it makes it even somewhat relevant to defend them. Am I saying something wrong here? Because they haven't realistically given me anything as far as, you know, the owner operator of this channel, Reaper Gang Radio, if I was ever to be in a position to want to try and defend these individuals. This channel isn't for how a motherfucker feels. It's just the fact of the matter. And all of the facts show that Canelo's 2019 and 2020 alone is better than all 3 of their fucking careers put together. I'm not making this shit up. This is just what it is. Shit is crazy. Steel Mill Boxing, what's goody? Why there's no other person for him to fight after this? 2-fight deal. The best opponent would be Andre, since he'll be a mandatory for one of his belts. He's got to become a mandatory for one of his belts. We see you leaving out a bunch of stuff. That's like 3 fights a fucking way. Canelo's already talking about going up to his 5th division and becoming a cruiserweight world champion after the 2nd fight. They're already considering, you know, whoever's the cruiserweight world champion at the time. They're already talking about their 3rd fight. I mean, here's the deal. Canelo's got more than big shit to do. If Canelo fights once, if Canelo beats Bivol at 175 pounds, Bivol is arguably, if not the toughest opponent at 175. So why wouldn't Canelo just continue fighting at 175 and go ahead and beat the shit out of Joe Smith and fight Artur Beterbiev and not only become undisputed at already being undisputed at 168, be undisputed at 175? And what about Joe Smith Jr. and Artur Beterbiev? What about those? And what about Demetrius Andre? Says that makes more fucking sense than fighting them at 175. Nothing about Demetrius Andre's career says that. Demetrius Andre's got to get through beating Zach Parker for the WBO to have the WBO interim title status. And then on top of that, he's still got to have the ability for, David Benavidez and him still have to make the fight so they can become 2-division mandatory for that 168-pound title spot. So it's not like Canelo just has freaking idle hands on the devil's playground and has nothing to do. He has plenty of stuff to do. This man is clearly chasing accolades, and if it comes down to a person who's chasing accolades, there's no accolades with Demetrius Andre. Demetrius Andre is just putting himself in to become a mandatory. But Canelo could easily say, well, shit, I might as well just go ahead and just round up 175. I've already done the dirty work there. And can't nobody even be mad at him, because everything about Artur Beterbiev or fighting Joe Smith after fighting Dimitri Bivol and Triple G, how can anybody complain about, that career his career going on that path? People can sit up there and say by eye test, Demetrius Andre seems like he's the toughest opponent, but what has shown that? What has shown that? And if Demetrius Andre wants to sit around and argue William Smith and Makhachev Shalecki, that's not really saying anything about your career. And even if Zach Parker's underneath his belt, that's not saying anything about his career. Demetrius Andre needs to get past Zach Parker, and then he's got to figure out how they can even make the fucking David Benavidez fight. That's the hardest thing out of this whole equation. Once again, I've said it. It's not about pointing fingers and saying whose fault is it, but at the end of the day, it's all three of their fault. And they got to come collectively, they've got to come together and make something happen, because Canelo's whole year is tied up. And honestly, if he wanted to tie up 2023, he can do that as well. And all of that shit makes more sense than individuals who all three of their resumes put together don't say anything but dog shit. Real rap. What the fuck about their resumes should say, yo, these guys deserve to fight? The only thing that says these guys deserve to fight is a leftist mentality of entitlement. The whole inclusion trophy shit. Fuck out of here, man. If Andre wins, he doesn't become the mandatory, Alexa. If Andre wins, he only becomes an interim he becomes an interim WBO world champion. He has to negotiate a fight with David Benavidez, and when David Benavidez and Demetrius Andre fight, then they become a two title mandatory. But even then, has history shown that DAZN and Premier Boxing Champions have been able to make a fight? Because they haven't been able to make one yet. So they've got to get through that. So, shit, we all can sit in this motherfucker and make I wish sandwiches. But that don't mean it's any motherfucking ham. That don't mean it's any lettuce, mayonnaise, onions, any submarine dressing on a hoagie roll. You feel me? So at the end of the day, shoulda, coulda, wouldas don't pay the rent. Because there's nothing set in stone that's saying Demetrius Andre and David Benavidez are fighting, especially when I already, just did a live on Samson Lekowitz already talking about they would need more money than they would receive to fight Canelo Alvarez if they wanted to fight Demetrius Andre, because they consider him a significant risk. So how is a David Benavidez and Demetrius Andre fight ever going to come to fruition if they already have that type of mentality when it comes to putting that fight together? And what type of promoter would pay David Benavidez more money to fight Demetrius Andre than they would pay them for a Canelo fight? Because David Benavidez fucking resume is straight coleslaw, warm coleslaw. That shit don't even make no sense. That don't even make no sense. And for him to even part his lips and even say that, that just to show you that, hey, if anybody is frustrated with the process when it comes to who Canelo is fighting right now and who Canelo is not fighting, go ahead and listen to the way they're fucking talking right now, and then maybe you would direct your frustrations somewhere else. I'm just saying. These are just the cold, hard facts of the matter. That shit straight warm coleslaw, bro. What the fuck a nigga done, man? Like, bro, like at one point, like I said, bro, at one point I was with with people when, you know what I'm saying, they was talking about Canelo's, you know, post Triple G2 and the opponents Canelo was fought. Yeah, I've made my videos on how I feel about some of his opposition, but the motherfucker is fighting Dimitri Bivol, bro. You can't even talk no David Benavidez. You can't talk no Demetrius Andre or fucking no Jamarshmallow shit to me. That's what I'm talking about when motherfuckers got to keep the same energy, bro. I'm not no hater or no motherfucking not one particular fighter, but every day it just shows me that motherfuckers really are. Other motherfuckers really are, I should say. Daniel Moreno, salute, my guy. I mean, Haney put in the work for Undisputed. Yeah, that's a fact. Haney definitely put in the work for Undisputed. Haney already got two former, you know, world champions underneath his belt when everybody called him the email champion, but everybody is running their opposite directions of fighting Devin Haney, but give him the most criticism. That's why boxing is such a weird game, Remy, because when it comes to, you know, the right thing supposed to be happening, you know, people don't exercise their frustration and point it in the proper direction. Maybe, you know, the Haney Kambosos fight would already be signed and sealed if people voice that true frustration instead of talking, you know what I'm saying? But you got motherfuckers talking about Lomachenko getting the fight and all of this other wild shit and having progress. But it's funny to me how, you know what I'm saying, a lot of those same people got the time to talk about what David Benavidez and what Demetrius Andre and what Jamal Charlo don't fucking deserve. Like, boxing don't keep the same energy at all. Andre should have fought top level to be designated to the WBO super champion, becoming mandatory at 168. Yeah, it's like there's nobody on Demetrius Andre's resume where you could really defend Demetrius Andre and say why he deserves the fight. I would really like somebody to tell me why Demetrius Andre deserves this fight. Why does he deserve the fight? Why does Jamal Charlo deserve this fight? Why does David Benavidez deserve this fight? Why? Because you feel like they're good enough? Because they're there? Because if that's the case, anybody who just sits around popping bubble gum, you know what I'm saying, twiddling their fingers with a whole dildo stuck up their ass deserves to fight then, right? Come on, man. Help this shit make sense. I'm not going to defend the indefensible. I'm going to defend like the right shit. Like, you know what I mean? I'm going to defend motherfuckers if they in the right. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of Demetrius Andre. I'll probably champion for Demetrius Andre on this channel more than a lot of people. But that don't mean Demetrius Andre is more deserving of this fight than Dimitri Bivol, because here's the thing. A lot of people have been saying on Twitter to me after I put that post out, they was like, yo, why does Dimitri Bivol deserve to fight? Because he has two former world champions underneath his belt, and he's the world champion at 175 pounds, holding the WBA, and Canelo has to come up to another weight class to get that fucking belt, while Demetrius Andre is not at 160 pounds, he's at 168, doesn't have a title. David Benavidez damn sure doesn't have a title, and all Jamal Charlo is fucking sitting on as a goddamn hot bowl of dog shit. He hasn't done fucking jack shit. None of them have done jack shit. I started off, you know, this whole video by saying, what the fuck have they done, all three of them done in their fucking resumes collectively that even fucking remotely even resembles fucking Canelo's career from 2019 to 2022? I mean, from 2019 to 2021 in difficulty. What is it, Liam Smith? Once again. What is it, Anthony Durrell? What is it, Sergey Derevyanchenko? Because once again, I could sit up there and say Canelo was fought at 175 and won a world title there, fucking cleaned out 168 within the span from 2019 to 2021. And that shit, and what they've done doesn't even remotely compare to that. All three of their resumes compared to what a guy has done literally in 2 years of boxing. So how the fuck can anybody talk about Andre, Charlo, and Benavidez right now? And act like Bivol is out of bounds for what he's done, when Bivol's fucking resume is better than all three of theirs, and he only got 19 fights. John Pascal and Joe Smith Jr. alone is better than what all three of them have done collectively in their fucking resumes as well. John Pascal, fucking a former world champion. Joe Smith Jr. is currently the WBO 175 world champion as well, and wants no smoke with Dimitri Bivol as a current world champion wanting to unify. As a matter of fact, this motherfucker would rather prolong getting another $100,000 than go ahead and signing on the dotted line and unifying with Artur Beterbiev, while fucking Top Rank plays keep away from Dimitri Bivol. So I don't want to hear no bullshit about what Dimitri Bivol has done, because clearly it just shows you, if all Dimitri Bivol has had to do is beat fucking Joe Smith Jr. and John fucking Pascal, and these motherfuckers' resumes collectively can't even compete with that shit tells you what? That all three of their fucking resumes are absolutely atrocious. Atrocious. What are we doing? Can't believe motherfuckers who really like, oh my God, like people really blow me when it come to boxing, man, because they really trying to defend this shit. And then act like yo, oh, Jamal Charlo and David Benavidez was gonna be so much better. For who? What, the degenerative portion of the black community? I'm talking about the ignorant portion of the black community. All them motherfuckers' resume on the same level. Exactly. Hot garbage. Hot ass garbage. With all of that stinking ass motherfucking sticky ass fucking dumpster juice drying out on the blacktop and shit, putting off that stank ass fucking smell. Every time he fucking hits your fucking nose, it makes your stomach curdle. Them dudes' resumes are straight hot baby shit, man. At the end of the day. So that's why I say that it's indefensible, bro. At this point, I'm just Kal-El salute. At this point, I'm just so sick of hearing it. Nick Harmon salute. Like, I'm just so tired of it, because it's just like these motherfuckers, like, it just shows you like the participation trophy portion of the world really is like going to bat for this shit and don't even realize how stupid do they sound. And half of the motherfuckers that's defending it, they don't even know what's on their resume. They don't even know what they're defending. That just tells you right there. Just stupidity, bro. I don't know why it's so hard for people to understand it. I don't know why. And then like people get mad when I say the shit, when it's just like, bro, don't fucking give me no fucking bullshit in my fucking DMs about what I've said or what I've done, when motherfucker I've defended Demetrius Andre at every turn too. When it's come down to these motherfuckers not wanting to unify with Andre, I've motherfucking smoked Triple G's ass. I've motherfucking paused. I've smoked all of them about the right things. So I'm smoking all of these motherfuckers about being wrong when it comes to this Canelo shit as well. Everybody gets the same work, man. Nobody is exempt here. Nobody's exempt here. So we just got to focus on what's right and what's fucking wrong. And in this situation, they're wrong, bro. They're just wrong. And like, I don't see how people just won't get that. Like, why can't that stick? Charlo will get straight smoke like OG Kush. Man, for real, I keep telling people, it's almost to the point, Miguel, where I honestly wish Canelo would have picked Charlo for real and just beat him the fuck up, so everybody would shut the fuck up, so he would have just got him out the way. Because see, what people fail to realize is what I've been saying for like the past couple weeks now. I don't care who Canelo's fighting right now. And what I mean by that is this, because it don't matter. If he would have chose Charlo right now, Dimitri Bivol, Better Beef, and all of those guys would have been in the wings, or vice versa, whoever he picked. Because at the end of the day, no matter who Canelo picks at this point of his career, they're going to be tough opponents, because all of the mediocre dudes done got knocked off and they all the way out the way. All of the mediocre champions are gone. Honestly. Like, come on, bro. Like, and people like going out their way to defend Charlo. Charlo wouldn't even fight David Benavidez. He said he wouldn't fight this motherfucker unless he got a COVID shot. How does that make any sense when we speaking of a disease that has a 99.9+% fucking natural immunity response rate? And this man got to get a COVID shot to fight you, or oh, the excuse is he's just too young. So at the end of the day, people want to go to bat for Jamal Charlo when Jamal Charlo won't even fight his own damn stablemate. Jamal Charlo's never unified a division. Jamal Charlo talks all of this bullshit, but that motherfucker, the only time Jamal Charlo is willing to fight when it's outside of the ring. The only thing Jamal Charlo is fighting off is trying to get another motherfucking assault charge. Nothing more. That's a fact, Smoke. They don't want to understand. And it's at the point where it's just like, bro, when everything I say sounds like, you know what I'm saying, it's too much for you to fucking stomach, that means because you just a weak motherfucker and you just don't like the truth. But it's unsettling for you. But you know, my thing is, why, instead of being disappointed with Canelo, why not be disappointed at the fact that the fighters that you championing for haven't given you one thing that you can honestly say that you respect about their resume right now? Not one thing. Like, imagine if, like, imagine when Canelo was turning pro at 15, and then say 17 years old, this motherfucker has nobody underneath his belt besides, domestic level fights when he was still fighting pro over in Mexico, and this man just rolled up on Floyd Mayweather trying to get the fight. What would the conversations be? It would be no different than what, Canelo fans are saying about, Andre, Charlo, and Benavidez fans right now. What have they done to deserve a fight with Floyd? What have they done to deserve a fight with Pacquiao? They haven't done shit. Almost wish their boxing still operated on that same level, because it's just like, bro, you couldn't just be anybody and get a fight with De La Hoya. You couldn't just be anybody and get a fight with Julio Cesar Chavez. You couldn't be anybody and get a fight with Floyd, Roy Jones, Antonio Tarver, any of them. Jermaine Taylor, Winky Wright, you name it, any of them. You couldn't just be anybody. You had to have a certain name, and the business had to make sense. So what about their business makes any fucking sense to what Canelo has going on right now? It fucking don't. So why is it all of a sudden, does it change for Canelo? Because the whole time, when Floyd, and think about how Canelo had to move through that shit to make a name when you got the most popular boxers in the world in that era right now all around you, and they making all of the moves, and they can do whatever the fuck they want to do. Canelo had to move, you know what I'm saying, fight people, bruh. Them boys should have to fight people as well. Canelo didn't just come out of fucking nowhere. He built a fucking profile. He tested his might. Why won't those boys test theirs against one another? Because it would be as simple as this. They don't even have to do all of the shit Canelo did in their fucking careers. If them motherfuckers just round robin with one another, that shit would be more than enough for, the boxing world to go ahead and argumentatively make a case to want to see that fight. Champions, former champions, whatever the case may be. But we all got some level of respect for their skill set on the level where it was like, okay, we got to see Andre Charlo. Okay, we got to see Charlo Benavidez or Boo Boo Benavidez. We would all be able to be like, okay, yeah, now we see why the winner that came out of, that came out of those situations should be able to fight Canelo. But these motherfuckers ain't even willing to do that. And my thing is this: it doesn't matter who did what or who wasn't on what. The only thing matters is progress. And just running off at the mouth, bumping gums, and talking about every European fighter that this dude engaged with when you don't even got one solid fucking fighter underneath your belt. And here's another thing. Why people always use the Canelo don't fight black fighters bullshit. Okay, why hasn't motherfucking Charlo fought Danny Jacobs? Why hasn't Andre fought Danny Jacobs? Why hasn't Andre fought Eric Landry Lara? Why hasn't motherfucking Andre fought Jacobs? Why haven't, any of those dudes done any of those things? But we criticize motherfucking Canelo for his African American fucking opponents? What about their African American opponents? Oh, that's right. Them motherfuckers' opponents is just straight garbage, regardless of however you look at it. Them motherfuckers don't got one blockbuster main event fight up underneath their belt amongst the three of them. Amongst the three of them. The only person that I don't group together when it comes to a lot of these conversations is Andre, because Andre was willing to fight so, you know what I'm saying, so many different significant opponents at 160 pounds, and he couldn't get those fights, whether it was Charlo, you know what I'm saying, Triple G, or going down the line. But at the end of the day, it comes down to this. Okay, if you can't get those motherfuckers in the ring, who's going to be the next best thing? I don't even see who the next best thing is on his resume. So that's when it comes, that's why I say, yo, the finger pointing doesn't even matter, because none of them have anybody significant there. None of them. So it makes no sense for them to even talk about Canelo, bro. That would be like me expecting to get paid. That would be like me showing up. I don't even have the skill set of a laborer. I haven't even rounded up lumber before, but I think I should be the foreman on the fucking construction grounds. How does that work? I don't even have laborer skills, can't do proper mathematics. I can't even do basic math, but I'm thinking I should be the fucking, you know, the lead architect on the job. And I should get the highest pay. That's kind of like what BENAVIDEZ, Charlo, and Andre's situation sounds like coming from a fan's perspective, in my eyes, being on the opposite end of the spectrum. That's what it's like. It's just like, oh, y'all motherfuckers just think y'all just show up. You ain't even, motherfucker, you ain't even got training as a sous chef, but you think you just supposed to be a lead chef on the fuck in the kitchen and shit like that. Are you kidding me? Shit is crazy to me. I know it's been beat to death, but I think Nello versus Benavidez is a competitive, entertaining fight. I love the fight. I think Benavidez is an exceptional talent, but what is exceptional about his resume? And the thing about Benavidez is this: Benavidez has nobody but to blame. Benavidez was the one good fight that was supposed to be for the 168-pound undisputed. But whose fault is it that we didn't get to see Benavidez versus fucking Canelo? David Benavidez. Once again, he chose cocaine and he chose Whataburger over being in fucking shape and being able to make the weight and keep his title. He chose cocaine one time and he chose Whataburger the other time. So that's David Benavidez's fault. When it comes down to Andre at 160 pounds, whose fault is it? That cokehead Oscar De La Hoya's fault. For not filing the paperwork to the IBF once again to extend the duration of time needed to get the contract signed for Derevyanchenko so he could go undisputed at 160. Now, the only thing that I won't defend is 154, because when Andre was a title holder there, Canelo chose to fight James Kirkland instead of fighting Demetrius Andre, and James Kirkland was out the ring for 2 years. So that's the only thing I can defend right here. But once again, at this point in Canelo's career, I mean, the dude is fighting Dimitri Bivol. And even through the duration of all of that time, through 2 different divisions, and now moving up to 168, this guy doesn't have anybody significant on his profile. He ain't even got nobody eyed on there besides Liam Smith. I mean, I'm sorry, Liam Williams. Who does David Benavidez got on his profile? What are we going to say, Robert Graville or Anthony Durrell? Charlo, Sergey Derevyanchenko, or when Julian Williams wasn't the unified title holder, he fought him at 154 for the IBF, but that motherfucker was considered Glass Joe at the time. Always been considered Glass Joe, but at that time, he ain't never even held a world title. So when I sit up there and I say Canelo from 2019 to 2021 has done more in fucking in a 2 years duration of his career than all three of these guys have done through the entirety of their careers. Man, nothing else should be said. That's what I'm saying, bro. You ate your way out of a fucking Canelo shot. You motherfucking snorted your way out of a Canelo shot. And then people act like, oh, like Canelo just chose Avani Yildirim. Well, Canelo was at 160 pounds anyway. Yildirim was actually, you know, the title, Yildirim was already Benavidez mandatory, but Benavidez choosing fucking, you know, choosing tacos and cocaine over motherfucking staying in his, you know what I'm saying, title spot. If fucking, so for Canelo to get to Callum Smith, they said if you beat Avani Yildirim, you can get that. So that's how he got that. It ain't like Canelo just pulled up and was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? We're going to make this way and this way. And, you know, it's just going to be like this. But, bro, even beyond that, man, can nobody make excuses for these gentlemen's resumes, man. Their resumes is hot garbage. Period. What the fuck? None of them unified 168 when Canelo was at 160. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, why ain't none of them dudes do nothing? Like, yo, I can't defend. And then here's the thing, you know what I mean? When people talk about world champions, which one of these motherfuckers ain't world champions of vacant titles, man? I think the only one might be Charlo at 154, but other than that, these motherfuckers are these motherfuckers are the champions of grabbing up vacant belts, man. It's fair to say Canelo's whole career is better than all three. Man, fair. It's more than fair to say that shit. Like Canelo's career isn't just better. Like that shit is exceptionally better. Like bro, like you could take Canelo, you can break Canelo's career in portions, and any portion of that motherfucker is still significantly better than what all three of them done collectively. We're not talking about one fighter here, two fighters. We're talking about three, and all the three that people want to see. And two of the three, I'm extremely high on. But we haven't seen the motherfuckers tested. None of them. Like, bro, go out there and smoke a Danny Jacobs. Go out there and smoke somebody. Somebody where we could say, okay, well, this dude did this. We can't even say anything that they've done to even, like, help make a case for them if we like them or we don't. They've done nothing that we can help make a case for and even just say, yo, we just genuinely, you know, those guys, somebody went out there and done something. Like, none of them motherfuckers done nothing with each other, man. That's what I'm saying. The last 2 years, bro. The last 2 years. I don't know how, like, yo, I don't know how I could beat that shit into people's head to help them understand that this man has had a better 2019 to 2021, that them motherfuckers have had a collective careers, like 3 lifetimes in conjunction, have not been better than what Canelo has done by itself, man. That's cornball shit, man. That's why it's just like, how the fuck do you defend these motherfuckers, man? And that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. And there's no appreciation for what this man is doing. That's why I'm like, bro, at this point, I understand where people coming from, where it's like, no matter what Canelo do, bro, this is what it's going to be, man. Motherfuckers are going to be putting together videos just hating on this man. You know what I'm saying? Just because motherfuckers don't got nothing to do when controversy sells, bro. That's all it is. A lot of motherfuckers just be making money off of controversy and they just throw out a video, bro, and it's just in opposite to how certain people feel. And the motherfuckers who feel like what he talking about, they just like, yeah, they champion for that shit and they subscribe for that shit. Regardless of whether the truth is really being, you know what I'm saying, vocalized or not. Regardless of whether these motherfuckers did their homework and they coming with the facts or not. People are just going to get behind it because there's somebody and there's a few thousand motherfuckers in the world, several thousand, that just agree with that perspective. And they don't even, and 9 times out of 10, they don't even know the ins and outs of what's been going on in boxing. It just sound good. Because I don't know, maybe they just like the way that motherfucker talk over there, whatever the case may be. But it's just always been like that with this YouTube shit. And I just think that's gay as fuck. Like, there's a level of go along, get along with any perspective, no matter how fucking screwed the fucking perspective is. at all, at all. The moment, like, look, man, the moment motherfuckers show me better, then hey, on Reaper Game Radio, we could do a lot better about what we say, you know, when it comes to these individuals. But until then, you know, there's nothing that I can say about defending these guys, and I don't expect nobody, you know. And if anybody expects me to defend Andre or defend fucking Benavidez, I can't. Well, how can I defend them at this point? They're indefensible. But yeah, man, that's basically what I wanted to say to you guys, man, before I got out of here. I had to do all of this shit, man. I just think that, you know, it's just bullshit, you know, how people act like, you know, like at the end of the day, I really see it that nothing this man does is good enough. You know, we got people out here trying to defend guys who collectively got a fucking resume, a fucking warm fucking goddamn fucking coleslaw. These motherfuckers don't got one fucking significant opponent underneath their belt. This man's two recent current years is better than all three of their resumes combined. And these are three so-called former or current world champions we talking about here, man. So hopefully, you know, people can get where I'm coming from when I can say, bro, like, put that shit to bed. Like Andre, Benavidez, Charlo, none of these motherfuckers should be mentioned at this point, man. And just once again, man, appreciate what you got in front of you, bro, because there's nobody, because I ended off like this. Who in fucking 22 is doing what the fuck Canelo is doing right now? Who? The only other person not even say remotely close is Usyk. Nobody is doing what Canelo is doing right now. And if motherfuckers can't go with that in peace, I just don't know what to tell them, man. Salute, Remy. Appreciate you with the super chat, Brody. So as we always say at the end of this shit, man, it costs you nothing. Pay a nigga no mind, man. Y'all just lay off the criticism of this guy, man. Appreciate, you know what I'm saying, the good boxing that this guy's, you know, putting on consistently. And the fact that this is the biggest boxer in the world, he's staying active. And he's the one that's, you know what I mean, really putting in the groundwork. And these dudes just sitting around twiddling their thumbs, man. Remember, man, everybody go out and shine like stars, man, because everybody's winning their own right. Everybody have a wonderful day. Stay safe. You know what I'm saying? Be easy. We'll get right back to the content beginning, you know, next week. I see you all on Super Nipple Sunday. Everybody have a great day, man. Respect.